안녕하세요. Welcome to Monday's edition of the Culture Wave. I'm Kwon in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-trends, K-people, and more. For today's show, we have our co-host Walter Lee with us. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and hello to everyone at home, the Culture Wave viewers. I'll be later on with the K-Enter News.
And we're also joined by Arirang News culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin. Hello, Yoo-jin.
Hello, Soa. Hello, Walter. And hello to the viewers of Culture Wave. I'm Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News culture correspondent.
Now, what should normally be a festive season has changed into a tragic year-end with a Jeju airplane crash, which is, of course, also affecting cultural issues.
Yes, right. And I'll be mentioning how entertainment figures have been expressing their feelings after in the K-Enter News.
Right, that is coming up in a bit. But before, Yoo-jin, you have some extensive coverage prepared for us today. What do you have?
Right. So first of all, my heart goes out to all the victims and the people who were affected by the tragic plane crash yesterday. But going back to what I'm going to report today, we're only 2 days away from the new year, 2025. So for the Culture Wave today, I prepared a recap of the top stories in K-culture this year. As the year winds down, it's time to walk down memory lane and revisit the cultural highlights of 2024. The biggest moment came in October.
The Nobel Prize in Literature for 2024 is awarded to South Korean author Han Kang.
Han became the first Asian female laureate in the category and only the second Nobel Prize winner from Korea.
I think Han Kang winning the Nobel Prize was a defining moment that showed Korean literature is now part of the mainstream.
Turning to K-pop, Blackpink's Rosé and American singer-songwriter Bruno Mars's APT became a global sensation. Rosé became the first Korean female artist to achieve all this, topping Spotify's global chart, landing second on the UK official singles chart, and securing 8th place on the Billboard Hot 100.
With Blackpink and BTS not performing as a full group this year, there were concerns about K-pop's momentum. But Rosé showed her talent and potential as a major female solo star in K-pop. Her success also further solidified K-pop's status on the global stage.
Meanwhile, BTS brought good news for fans eagerly waiting for their return. The group's oldest member, Jin, completed his mandatory military service in June, becoming the first to reunite with armies.
My bias is Jin, so yes, Kim Sok-jin. So he comes back, and I don't know, I feel like my favorite person in the world, come back to me, and it's really important.
So the wait of like 1.5 years, it came to an end, and we see him so happy, so handsome. It made us feel like so proud.
J-Hope followed in October, bringing the group one step closer to their full comeback, with all members set to complete their service by next summer. However, not every news was celebratory. A dispute involving Min Hee-jin, the former CEO of HYBE subsidiary Adore, escalated into a family feud. In November, Min resigned, and New Jeans announced the termination of their contract with Adore, which was initially set to run until 2029.
The trust between us and Adore has broken down, so continuing our contract is just unacceptable.
Adore has filed a lawsuit seeking the validity of its contracts with the 5 members. On the screen, streamers thrived while cinema struggled. The domestic box office saw only 2 films cross the 10 million ticket mark, Exuma and The Roundup Punishment, both released in the first half of the year.
The impact of COVID-19 continued to linger, so there weren't many blockbusters, and even those marketed as blockbusters didn't perform well. However, there were notable efforts to try something new, such as screening so-called shorter snack movies, films that won awards at art festivals, rare-releases, concert films, and horror movies.
But it was a different story for the streaming industry. Netflix's Culinary Class Wars became the first Korean reality show to top the platform's global top 10 non-English TV series list for 3 straight weeks. And the long-awaited second season of the Emmy-winning series Squid Game premiered on December 26th. And that was a wrap-up of 2024 in culture.
It's definitely been a big year for culture, but Yujin, you as our culture correspondent, what would you say was the top moment in culture in 2024?
Well, I would definitely have to say author Han Gang winning the Nobel Prize in Literature. It's because her win was not only monumental for Korea, it was globally significant because the Nobel Prize in Literature has been notoriously difficult for women and also Asians to win. And you can just see this by looking at the stats because Han Gang is once again the first Asian female to win the prize among the 121 laureates, including her. And also, she's the first Asian winner of the prize in this category after China's Muan in 2012. So you can see how big of a win this was.
It was.
And as we gear up for the new year, what can we expect, or can you give us a preview of what to expect in the year 2025?
Sure. So I think that K-pop fans will have a lot to look forward to. As I mentioned in my report, next year, all 7 members of BTS will be completing their mandatory military service by June 2025. So fans, the armies, are eagerly waiting for a new album to drop soon. And also for Blackpink, the group has also announced plans to hold a world tour next year and also come up with a new album. So this is a really exciting news, especially for K-pop fans. And on the screening front, exciting sequels are lined up as well, including the 3rd season of Netflix's Squid Game, which I'm sure you guys will mention Squid Game 2 later in the show, in today's episode. Right. And also Netflix announced the 2nd season of its hit cooking competition show Culinary Class Wars. So I'd say that a lot to look forward to in the world of culture in 2025 as well.
It's going to be an exciting 2025 in the world of culture. And we're hoping that you, Yujin, are going to cover all of these special events next year as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yujin.
Thank you.
Time now for the latest K-entertainment news with Walter Lee. Walter, we are going to start off today with the response on the air crash tragedy in Muan from the entertainment sector.
Yes, like you and the rest of the country, I was deeply heartbroken when hearing the news yesterday of the Muan plane crash disaster. And Korean celebrities alike spread, there were just too many to name. I could go through a massive list of people, celebrities that pay tribute in their respects to those who died in the disaster, either sending out personal messages through their social media or by halting pre-arranged activities. For example, the girl group IVE, which was in the middle of a promotion campaign ahead of their February release, announced that they would be postponing some of their promotional activities. Also, 17 subunit Bu Sok-sun also announced their delay of their planned official photo upload for their single album Telepathy on December 29th. Like everyone here at the Culture Wave team, we express our deepest condolences to the families that have suffered in this tragedy.
We do public figures, celebrities, ordinary citizens. I think at this time everyone is mourning for this loss. Now, Walter, we did mention a little bit of the Squid Game in Yujin's report before, but we've got some big news regarding Squid Game Season 2.
We do. So Squid Game Season 2 has ranked number 1 in all countries where Netflix is actually available. So online streaming tracker site Flix Patrol reported that as of Sunday, Squid Game Season 2 reached number 1 in all 93 countries in the Netflix TV show category. Now, on the day after it was released, it was ranked first in 92 countries, the exception being New Zealand. But the very next day, it reached number 1 in New Zealand, making it all 93 countries then. So this is actually a faster achievement than Season 1. While Season 1 released in 2021 reached number 1 after 8 days, Season 2 achieved this in just 3 days.
Wow.
So Netflix says the global interest in Squid Game Season 2 shows that the series has gone beyond entertainment to become more of a cultural phenomenon.
I mean, in Season 1, it was very unexpected, but then Season 2, everyone was waiting for it. So I do see why it was, we got to that point at a faster pace.
Yes.
But there were some mixed reviews, as we did talk about this earlier. However, the rankings don't lie, I have to say.
Yes.
But last but not least, let's talk about K-movies.
Yes, Parasite director Bong Joon-ho's new film, Mickey 17, originally scheduled to release in North America on April 18th, has had its release date moved to March. Now, distributor Warner Brothers Korea announced this on Saturday that Mickey 17 will now be released in North America on March 7th, 2024. Now, the film will premiere in Korea before its North American release, with the possibility of maybe March 7th release in Korea being discussed. Now, the distributor said the Korean release is being coordinated to be the first worldwide release ahead of North America. Now, Mickey 17 follows a disposable worker who is sent on a human mission to colonize the icy planet of Niflheim after each iteration ends in death. A new body is regenerated, retaining most of his memories. Now, it is actually Bong Joon-ho's first film since Parasite in 2019 and has a star-studded cast including Robert Pattinson, Stephen Yeun, Toni Collette, and also Mark Ruffalo.
Sounds very interesting. Thank you very much, Walter, for those K-Inter news.
I'll stick around.
All right. And now for a look at other culture-related news, we turn to our AI anchor, Ari.
Hello and welcome to the Culture Wave AI News. Let's get started with today's top story. It's that time of the year again when we say goodbye to the year that was and welcome the new year ahead. Korea's easternmost Dokdo Islets will be the first part of the country to kick off the New Year's glow. Visible at 7:26 a.m. Korea Standard Time. The southern city of Ulsan will follow at 7:31 a.m. Sunrise times for other major cities are as follows. Busan at 7:32, Gwangju at 7:41, Daejeon at 7:42, and Seoul at 7:47 a.m. The final sunset of 2024 will occur at 5:40 p.m. in Sinan County, Jeollanam-do Province. Detailed information is available on the Korea Astronomy and Space Science Institute's website. The Culture Ministry has unveiled plans to boost Korea's performing and visual arts sectors next year while expanding support for translating Korean literature for global audiences. The initiative includes doubling the number of young talents eligible for state-funded performing arts education and creating new youth organizations across genres to foster emerging artists. Various measures will also be taken to strengthen ecosystems of local performing arts. Amid rising global interest in Korean literature, Culture Minister Yoo In-chon also vowed to expand support for Korean literary translation. The ministry plans to allocate 70% of the related budget within the first half of 2025. The National Institute of Korean Language has added 620 new entries to the Standard Korean Dictionary to include commonly used terms and previously omitted words. These additions include gimmari, a fried dish made by wrapping vegetables or glass noodles in seaweed, and jeonsenan, referring to the difficulty in securing jeonse, Korea's lump sum deposit housing rental system. Also added are kodoksa, meaning lonely deaths, and 확진자, a term widely used during the COVID-19 pandemic to refer to confirmed patients. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Culture Wave.
It's time for our Culture Issue segment. As the year draws to a close, we want to delve into the performing arts sector today, which has been thriving in 2024. And we'll do that with Professor Ji Hae-won from Kyung University's Arts and Cultural Management Program, who is joining us in the studio. Welcome back, Professor Ji.
Good afternoon.
So, Professor Ji, how was the overall performing arts scene in 2024? Some say it experienced its biggest boom ever, with attendance surging for theatrical plays, musicals, and other performances.
Right. After COVID-19 pandemic, the performing arts industry has been recovering its growth gradually. And especially large-scale shows, including K-pop concerts, musical, and straight plays brought more audiences this year. According to KOPIS, Korean Performing Arts Box Office Information System, the total gross annual box office receipts would be approximate $975 million for this year, which is a little more than the last year's total. So we could say the industry itself keeps growing. However, the growth reflects on the increasing ticket prices, so it doesn't always mean that the profit increases at pro rata.
Now let's go deeper now, starting with theater. This year, Korean plays have been particularly rich in reinterpretations of classics and also creative plays with diverse special perspectives. So what were some of the highlights?
Yeah, the audiences got more chances this year to see the famous movie stars on the stage. So including Jeon Do-yeon, Park Hae-soo, and Choi Hee-seo in The Cherry Orchard, Hwang Jung-min in Macbeth, Moon So-ri in Sound Inside, and Cho Seung-woo in Hamlet, and more recently, Lee Dong-hee in The Lives of Others. So The Cherry Orchard, directed by Simon Stone, was sold out because it took 27 years for Jeon Do-yeon to return to the stage.
Wow.
Right, it was a long time, and Cho Seung-woo chose Hamlet as his first straight play. He did a lot of musical theaters, but it was his first play, so it was sold out as well. And whenever Hwang Jung-min does plays, his works are critically acclaimed and the audiences love them. So Macbeth was amazing as well. So those shows with the big stars were usually selling out because it is so attractive for the audiences to see the famous actors acting right in front of them. So, and the word of mouth could spread more easier than the other shows.
Easier and faster.
Right.
And why do we see those big stars increasingly heading to the stage? And what impact has this had on the theatre sector?
One of the reasons behind the playing starring the famous actors that it is a good way to build the new audiences and expand theatrical experiences. Also, as you know, the Korean film industry battles box office these days and struggles with investment for the new project. So that was another reason for some of the actors to try to do more theatrical works recently. And it is not much different from any other countries because the more Hollywood stars do Broadway theaters these days, such as Robert Downey Jr. and George Clooney. The biggest impact of the star vehicle shows for the theater producers would be that they could present large-scale plays, not only the musical theaters, running for the longer period of time based on the strong fandom.
And now you did mention musicals already, but we have been talking a number of times about musicals this year, Korean musicals. So they are still going strong. What are some of the highlights you want to mention?
Yeah, there were Korean original musicals premiered or returned to the stage this year, including Il Ténéré, Benjamin Button, Your Lies in April, Frankenstein, Mata Hari, and Maybe Happy Ending. Also, many Korean licensed productions played with a strong box office, including Kinky Boots, Chicago, Jekyll and Hyde, Hadestown, Aladdin, Jesus Christ Superstar, Dear Evan Hansen, and Come From Away. Especially, surprisingly enough, thanks to the several genius comedians and creators on YouTube, such as musical stars or some short-form challenges, the long-running musical Chicago and Kinky Boots got the highest public attention ever this year, and it affects the box office growth as well.
It's also been a particularly strong year for homegrown musicals as well. So how do you assess this achievement?
That's right. It was a remarkable year for the Korean musical industry, not only domestically but internationally, because the original works has expanded its marketplaces globally. Marie Curie was presented in the UK earlier this year, and the Maybe Happy Ending opened on Broadway in November. Then The Great Gatsby, produced by Korean theater producer Shin Chun-soo, opened on Broadway in the last spring and will be presented in the UK next year. Also, several smaller shows got government support and opportunities to be introduced to the international market, including Fan Letter, Swagage 외쳐 조선, and Loud Hest. So thanks to the high global attention to the K-culture, I believe Korean musical theater would keep growing and expanding into the international marketplaces next year as well.
I think that having Korean-made musicals abroad in New York and London, that I think is really a big milestone, which we can also look forward in 2025.
I agree with you completely there, Sola. And despite the performing arts world having made some great strides this year, could you tell us about some challenges in the sector or areas where there is maybe room for improvement?
Right. As we've been talking earlier, many audiences would love to see the large-scale shows with the famous actors, but it also means, on the other hand, the smaller shows or new works are struggling with bringing audiences to the theater. There are always lots of shows playing in the Korean theater district we call 대학로, but it is not easy marketing a show with a limited engagement and limited budget and no popular actors or creative teams. So I highly recommend the audiences to visit many smaller shows as well and enjoy the diversity of the Korean theater. Also, recently, there are some other side effects. To cast a few number of the actors in multiple productions. Recently, Cyrano and 광화문 연가 stopped in the middle of the performances due to the actors' poor condition. And actually, I was sitting in the theater that day to see Cyrano. So because there was no understudy actors in the theater, we don't actually have those strict kind of rules. So the performances had to be canceled and the audiences had to go back home. Right, and then as the actor Choi Jae-rim is currently doing Cyrano, Kinky Boots, and Chicago at the same time. So those two other shows were canceled as well for the following weekend. And also the other productions, many audiences are complaining about the recent Korean production of opera Trandut, again 2024 Trandut, due to its poor quality. So I believe we definitely need to have a stronger structure and rules in producing and operating good quality shows for the future in order to improve and maintain this industry.
It must be really a tough schedule for those actors.
Of course.
And I mean, I personally learned a little bit of musical this year. That's why I really fell in love with musical this year, as I told you before, Professor Z. And just preparing for a few numbers already took so many weeks and months.
Right.
So yes, I hope that we will have some changes in those structures in a positive way. But last but not least, Professor Z, what are the performances to look out for in year 2025?
In this winter, steady-selling original musical are coming back. The Man Who Laughs and Veritaire and The Last Empress will open in January, and Once will be back on stage in February. And later next year, Phantom, Frida, Moulin Rouge, Mamma Mia, Red Book, and Mrs. Doubtfire will return, and the original musical Man in Korean Costume will premiere in November 2025. Moreover, mega hit immersive theater Sleep No More, maybe you heard about it, will finally arrive in Seoul next summer. So it attracted a lot of audiences for the past 20 years in the US and UK. For the Korean production, the company has been renovating one of the oldest Korean movie theater, 대한극장, to make it its performance place, the McKintrey Hotel. So I'm sure the show will deliver you a new theatrical experience. Also, thanks to the popularity of TV and drama 정년이, many institutions are trying to bring 여성국극 and 창극 to the stage. So I expect that we could see more various 창극 or 여성국극 next year.
A huge variety to choose from. Thank you very much, Professor Ji, for your insights this year, and we wish you the best for next year, and also looking forward to talk a lot more about these culture issues.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Walter, for today, and we will actually see you back tomorrow on Tuesday.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Our condolences to the victims of the Jeju airplane crash and their bereaved families. Thank you for watching.